it stems back to her decision to not allow a port development on Kangaroo Island. Now, the Deputy Premier and her family have a long connection to Kangaroo Island. She inherited family property there. And so there were some questions that were made that whether she had a conflict of interest when she voted to block that port. She said at the time that she had put her mind to that and she was confident that she did not have a conflict. But then what happened in more recent times is a Liberal MP, a Liberal backbencher, defected to the crossbench, and the opposition was able to use that and some other numbers on the crossbench to launch a parliamentary inquiry into the decision. So that inquiry has been going on in recent weeks, and today, as you said, the report was tabled this morning. Now, that report found that she did have a conflict of interest, that she had misled Parliament, and that she had breached the Ministerial Code of Conduct. It recommended that Parliament find her guilty of contempt because of that. It also recommended that she apologise, that she be suspended from Parliament for 9 days, and so that's how we've come to this position now. I should also note, though, that on that committee there were two Liberal MPs who did dissent from that vote, but now we've had this no confidence motion, and again the opposition has been able to use the numbers of the crossbench to get this no confidence motion up, which is unprecedented as far as I know in South Australian politics. And those numbers, the numbers that the opposition managed to use, included two former Liberal MPs who are now on the crossbench, and a third former Liberal MP absented himself from the vote. So a very difficult moment for the Marshall government.
Yeah, very difficult. What has been the Deputy Premier's response?
As I said, all along, the Deputy Premier has maintained that she did nothing wrong. She appeared very calm in Parliament today. When asked, she said she's just getting on with government business. She actually had her own lawyer, a senior QC, put a submission to this committee, which basically said the committee didn't have any evidence of a conflict, that despite the fact that she owned land near a timber plantation that was likely to be felled if this port went ahead, it was going to be a timber port, that wasn't a conflict of interest, and that this committee was biased, that Labor members on the committee, I guess, had a bias or an apprehension of bias. And that is what a lot of Liberal MPs said while supporting the Attorney General. There was one amendment to this no confidence motion, a government amendment that did succeed. The no confidence motion wanted the Premier to sack her, but the Premier has said that he won't do that. He still has 100% support for Vickie Chapman, and so they managed to get that struck out with the support of the crossbench, even though they ultimately supported the no confidence motion. And I think we have a bit of what the Premier had to say about the Deputy Premier here now.
She has my 100% support. I do not believe for 1 second that there has been any breach of the Ministerial Code of Conduct, and there is absolutely nothing which has been provided in evidence whatsoever to the Select Committee which would make me change my mind.
So under this motion, the Speaker will now go to the Governor and hand this motion to the Governor, tell the Governor that Parliament has no confidence in the Deputy Premier, that she should be removed from her commission, from her ministerial portfolios. But what the Premier has said in response to that is that the Governor does not take her cues from the Speaker. She takes advice from the Premier and she takes advice from Cabinet, and he will not be telling her to sack the Deputy Premier.